Hey, this is Alex Tam. If you want to learn how to use your small axe to build an empire, you should be listening to my Small Axe podcast with my good friend, Nico.
Hey guys, it's your boy Nico here from the Small Axe Podcast. I want to show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. You see, not everybody begins their investing career with millions of dollars, a huge network of investors, or the knowledge necessary to become successful in this space, and that's okay. What I focus on here on this podcast is helping you hone your skills, sharpen your tools to become the best investor that you can be. Now, I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this show. If you have any questions or you want to reach out to me or the guest, feel free to do so. Love you guys. Okay, Small Axe community, it's me. It's Nico. It's another beautiful day in the investing world. And today, I'm hanging out with an old friend of mine, Dr. Alex Tam. What's up, man?
What's up, Nico? Thanks for having me.
I'm excited. So people might remember you or recall that you were on one of my accountability series for a year where we followed your journey. You had an amazing journey then, and I cannot wait to hear what you've been up to since, and et cetera, because this is what you were able to accomplish in that 1 year was incredible.
Yeah, thank you so much. It has definitely been a journey for sure.
Yeah. All right, we're going to jump into it. But before we get there, let's give the listeners some form of context of how you got to where you are today and a little bit of background about yourself.
Yeah, so a little bit about me is I am, the trade is that I'm a chiropractor. Been a chiropractor, have my own office for 15 years now, right? And back in 2018, I went to a business seminar that talked about syndications. And from 2018 to 2021, I started investing as a limited partner. And towards the end of 2021, Nico, that's where we met through Jake and Gino, right? Went through that educational program along with MIH mastermind and everything. And ultimately started doing deals with partners in our mastermind and Jake and Gino as well. From started off with some GPs and JVs, and now a lot of different JVs and syndications ourselves. So we're currently working on a project that's a RV park now. So that's the newest project that we're working on.
Now, tell me about this RV park because I'm extremely curious and interested after talking with your friend and partner, Darren, who is also the man, and I love that guy too. But is it closed or is that an active syndication? What is that?
No, that's a straight up JV. There's only four of us that are partners on this JV, and it is closed.
Is it with Christina as well?
Christina's on it. Yeah. So it's active. It is closed. We closed it last week, and the team has just been, Nico, phenomenal. Everyone's on point. Everyone pitches in, right? And it's working out really well. The communication is just on point. There's no doubt.
So you, Darren, Christina Kovac, who's also been on the show a number of times. Anybody else that I would know?
Yin David. So you may know them. They're part of MIH as well. It'll be good to hear about their journey as well. So yeah. Hope you're muted.
Now, tell me a little bit about RV parks in general. Why do you like them? Is this new for you? I mean, have you done RV parks before?
No, so this is our first property, as an RV park. And one of the big reasons with the RVs that we really like is the fact that, number one, in terms of depreciation, RV parks are phenomenal at depreciating. Number two is on the side where people are bringing their RVs compared to multifamily, there's not much to fix. You just got to make sure you got sewer, water, power running, right? And if something happens to their RV, well, yeah, you can get a tech on site, a mechanic on site, or they need to be able to fix it themselves. It's not on you. And on top of that, people are coming to the RV park a lot more relaxed, right? So even if something does break, they're like on vacation mode. And in an RV park, it's you're not just running a like a home for someone to live in. It's a hospitality business.
Mm.
You got to think of it as a hospitality business, right? People are coming in, so it's like a hotel, except they're bringing their own room to stay at, so your amenities have to be on point, right? So we're putting together a lot of that together.
I love it. It's and there's a lot in there, and I have so many questions. And I wanted to kind of point out that you mentioned it. I mean, you're not insuring, you're not insuring the property itself. I mean, the buildings themselves, right? This isn't multifamily or even mobile homes that are park owned. This is different. People come, they bring their own house with them. They're just using your pad, right? Which is so cool. And the model that I have or that I'm considering down in Florida is a still a year lease. Now that's not doable or prominent in other areas of the country, which would make it a little bit more transient in certain parts, which is fine. It's hospitality. It's just a different model. But would it be labor intensive on the management side for you guys, and how are you going to manage it?
So we have property management, husband and wife that stays on the property. So they live on the property with their kids, right? And they handle all the check-ins, day in, day out things. If they're checking in on weekends, they're there. They're still off a couple of days a week during the week because we're not as busy, right? But we still have support because they're living there themselves. So that is huge.
Absolutely. And what is were they the owners or were they just like residents there when you
Residents, they were hired on as RV park managers.
cool. And I'm sure they get
Uh-huh.
like comped or whatever for where they're living or something.
Right, right. There's certain comps that goes with it. Absolutely.
How big is this particular park?
73 pads with 4 cabins, and it's 10 acres, and there's room for tents and also yurks for glamping later on down the
Oh,
line.
so cool. So I am assuming that you have like a website built out for this or something where people can go check it out or book online or something. How does booking work?
Oh, it's super easy. You either find us on our website and you click the book now button, or you go on our social media and the book now button's there, right? ozarkrvpark.com.
Cool. Now, this RV park you said has cabins as well. So those have to be insured a little bit differently. Are they like, what's the vintage on them? Do they require any maintenance or any renovations?
Not much, because they're pretty much all done. I can't remember exactly the year that they were built, but they're all done, ready to go. They've been getting rented this whole time. There's not much upgrades that need to be done, except for maybe changing a couple pictures, lamps, and whatnot. We want to keep it as that cabin feel, right, as much as possible. So not much that needs to be done. So it's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I live up here in New York. I book camping trips all the time, and there are RV pads as well at these campsites. There are tent sites, there are cabins, there are glamping sites, and it's really becoming, I mean, I've always done it, but it's becoming more of a thing. And I like the options of the different types of sites from a rustic site to a full-on glamping site. I mean, the options are just really are what appealing to me as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's beautiful.
So how do you shut down certain parts of the year?
Well, so when we purchased the park has never been open during the winter time. But what we're planning to do is keep it open during the winter time because there's activities around. There's a ski resort a couple hours away, but people during the hiking, even if it's snowing, can do a lot of snowshoeing, cross-country skiing that they can do. So we're planning to keep it throughout the whole year, and they'll be available for longtime tenants as well.
That's wonderful, Alex. So, me personally, I would love to be able to go to one of these sites because I built my own trailer. You probably have seen, and
Mhm.
I take it around. I would love in the wintertime to do it, but everything up here is closed for the winter. There's like seasons. It's very seasonal. But is there anything you need to do like to protect the utilities from frost?
We'll find out. We'll find out. The guys who are working there, they know a little bit more about that area than we do. I'm not as much the construction, or I mean, if it goes below say 32 degrees, or when it gets close to 40, I'm sure they'll have to wrap it. There's no doubt about that. But everything underground is going to be okay. It's just the things that are above ground that might need to get wrapped and protected that way.
Yeah. Well, just taking a step back, if you look at the year and here, and I'm using New York as like as an example, it's basically half of the year is completely vacant for these campsites. So if you were to go in, and I don't know if if it was the same for you guys, but if you were to go in, you can essentially, double your income if you have the same occupancy year round, right?
Just about. We understand that during the wintertime, the 4 or 5 months during the winter, where occupancy is not going to be as high on the other weekends. Some of the other weekends we're at about 90% occupancy, right? 90, 95. But wintertime, we're thinking, well, between 20 to 40, and even if it's between 20 to 40, well, that's at least a 20, say average 30% bump in income that we would have not gotten on the other times. So we're pretty happy about that.
Wow, I love it, Alex. Thank you so much for sharing on this. Let's talk a little bit about some other deals. I know you've done a bunch. Do you know how many deals you're in right now?
I can't say exactly how many.
I want to get
I'll have
there. I
to,
want to get to that point.
yeah, I can't exactly say, but all in all, the last time we checked, we're before the RV park. I'll say we're in the like between the GP and the JVs, 300 plus units.
It's awesome.
So yeah, I can't remember exactly how many deals that total up to.
No, that's so cool, man. Now, how do you get okay, do you prefer JVs over syndications, or do you not have a preference, or is it deal specific?
It's very deal specific, and here's why: is because if the right limited partnership comes around, I'll still invest as a limited partner. I'm not opposed to it at all if it's a phenomenal deal, right? It's got to be phenomenal because as an LP, you wanted to make sure that your deal is with not only great location, great vintage, but great people as well. And it's just as important in a JV, right? Because in a JV, you're going to be working very closely with the people. So you kind of have to know these people ahead of time for a while, hang out with them, meet with them, and talk to them to figure out if you guys have the same values and how you guys work with each other. But of course, you really won't know until you actually work together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So raising capital, if it's a phenomenal deal that I'm also an LP in, then I'm open to raising for it because I will not raise for a deal that I myself am not invested in. So that's where I stand with that.
Good, makes sense. Now, are you seeing challenges so we talk about challenges in our network and our community. Whatever we're facing, we openly, like I air them out with my team and everybody, and we try to find solutions. I'm experiencing, or I have from people that I speak with, I've experienced and heard of similar challenges across the nation. I focus exclusively on Florida. Do you guys face any challenges as well?
Well, in the locations that we're in, rents have not grown as quickly as previous years, but is either plateaued or still increasing about 2 to 4%, right? That's in terms of the operation side of things. And product material costs a little bit more. But overall, of course, when you raise capital, depending on the people right now, some have capital and some don't. It's just the turn in the market right now. A lot of people seems like they want to stand on the sidelines and try to wait a little bit, but seems like there's also people as of about last couple of months that are like, those who have capital are not afraid anymore. It seems like the high interest rate people are taking as, okay, that's just the norm now, right? So that's what we're working with.
Yeah, we're experiencing the same. Our rents have plateaued. They're essentially kind of flat right now. We experienced some more vacancy, not too much than anticipated, and we experienced a little bit more delinquency at one location out of our 4 locations. And we're just working through all that stuff. And yeah, prices for things have been higher, labor has been higher, and insurance spiked last year, but now came back down surprisingly. So
Hmm.
we had like 150% increase the second year, and then it dropped about 50% from there. So we're back down to decent, but still high insurance. Um, what else? That's really it. And then and we are leading the market in our rents, surprisingly. So we're pushing as hard as possible, and that's one of the reasons for a little bit more vacancy than anticipated, because we're pushing maximum rents with utility bill back.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I just had a meeting today with some brokers down in Florida. It was an hour-long meeting where they did an evaluation of our properties, and they were trying to find comps, but we are the leading in our market. It's funny, they were like, "You basically bought up this whole zip code, and we're leading the rents there." So it's just we're pushing, 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 and hope and thankfully we have financed these properties with fixed rate that we will be good for the next few years. I just would love to be able to cash flow a little bit more than what we are cash flowing.
Yeah, I mean it's a transition, right? Anytime when you make changes, as you bump rents, some people are going to be say, you know what, yeah, go for it, and some people are going to move out, and you're going to get better tenants in a lot of times.
Mm,
So it makes sense.
yeah. Thanks for the encouragement, Alex. I appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about your position. How the heck do you manage businesses, plural, and investing?
It's really comes down to team. On the investing side, we have phenomenal operators that are managing the properties, right? I hop on some asset management calls here and there, but I'm not your boots on the ground, right? I do help out with some property management. And whenever, for example, the RV park, we all pitch in and the team works phenomenally. In our medical practice, we have two other doctors, we have multiple staff in-house, and then we have multiple virtual assistants that work with it as well. And between the practice, investing, the virtual assistant business, which also has VAs working in it, right? There's also sober living communities that we're looking at as well, that we are more than likely within the next 2 months going to have our first sober living property. So that's also you it has a lot of help with virtual assistants. What I've been able to do, I think one of the great things is we've been able to look at every single business and figure out how can a virtual assistant help with that business. And boom, we just put one in place and let's go.
Doesn't that take a lot of time on the back end to set up and really and focus and energy, and then you let them free? But isn't it difficult up front?
It takes a little bit more time up front, and that's expected. That's expected for really any business. When you train staff, right? Virtual or in-house, whenever you have staff, you will have better, you will have more time eventually, but initially you got to put a little bit more time in. You
Mm.
just got to have to expect that. It's just like learning something new.
Yeah, I love it, man. I see that you're doing it, and I also envy you for your ability to have such a great relationship with your family. You guys still, I see pictures of you guys traveling and stuff, and it's you, Helen, and your daughter. Is that accurate? And
Yeah.
how do you keep them happy, man? And make sure
Well,
you're spending time with them.
you just got to spend time with them because family is why we do this, right? If it wasn't for family, I wouldn't be working as hard as I do right now. And it's making sure that we have everything planned out. Like I usually plan out, like we have the rest of the year between now and December planned out on specific weekends, what we do, or do we have outings, do we have trips? And I like to usually stay 6 months ahead. So by January, I already have everything till December planned out. Come June, now I'm planning out another 6 months between January and June the next year. Come December, then I'm planning out the other all the way till December. So when you got family baked in there, now you got to figure out everything else around it, right?
Oh, I love it. So that the family's the anchor, and you plan that first, and then you just work
Hmm.
around it. That is so cool, man. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this sober living stuff.
Well, sober living ultimately is people who have been addicted to drugs, alcohol, who have became free, right? Alcohol free or drug free. And now they're transitioning back into the world where it's like, okay, they need some accountability. They need to be in a home where they have other people who are doing the same thing away from drugs and alcohol. And they want to be part of that for 60, 90 days or longer. And that's what we're providing for them, is providing them a sober living facility with different amenities, and it has all the products, the beds and everything. It's all furnished, right? Where they can actually have a good place to live so that they can transition correctly.
Oh, I really like that. Now, is this model, well, I'm going to stop there. I like it because I have friends and family members who had gone through a lot of stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I appreciate people helping out like that. So, um, is the model similar to like a student housing where the floor plan will be like kind of like co-living, or is it separate units?
Yeah, it's almost like co-living. Say a four-bedroom house, right? You can have up to eight people, sometimes nine, depending on the size of the master bedroom, living in there. And one of them is going to be the house leader, right? Making sure that everyone's in play, they're following all the rules, right? And that's a ultimate goal. And these people, they come out of the rehab centers, and when they stay at a nice place, it gives them an opportunity to see what their life can be like when they are sober. They're going to work and everything. They're required to do that so that they can still pay rents, but the camaraderie is that they get to also hang out with other people who've been through it and now have a support system. It really is, Nico, a way for us to give back to the communities that we are a part of, because we know if the community that we're part of has less drugs and alcohol abuse, well, ultimately, it's going to be a better community for us as well. That's where we live.
Oh, absolutely, Alex. I like it. Who pays their rent?
A lot of them are self-pay.
Okay. Do you have to like vet them as we vet tenants, like with the like credit score and job and things like that? See if they're
Oh,
making.
absolutely. There's
Okay.
specific, very specific rules that they have. Mhm.
Do you work with organizations to find these people?
For right now, we do work with some organizations. We're in talks with different rehab centers and different nonprofits that understand the need of it. And then what they do is they come out, look at the house, make sure everything's good, right? We got all the fire alarms, and it's clean, right? They need to be able to see to make sure that it's not a neighborhood where they're like selling drugs next door.
Yeah, that would be the pits, right? That's where we run into
Yeah.
problems. Great. I like it, Alex. All right. So what do the next few years look like for you?
The next few years, we plan to expand in every single business, going from the medical practice. Once our current practice stabilizes with the team that we have, we're going to open a second one, open multiple sober living homes, and hopefully within the area that we are having our RV park in, there's definitely other opportunities in that area for development. So far, our team has worked really well together, and we plan to take down even more opportunities in the area. And at the same time, when great deals come up in other JVs or GP partnerships, I know other doctors who want to continuously invest. So I'll be part of that group as well to help with capital raising, asset management, and some of the other things that we do.
Awesome, Alex. You guys, I think you nailed something with your partnerships. It's so important. No, it is more important to work with people that are flexible, have a positive attitude, hardworking, committed, and on the same track as you are, as opposed to working with somebody who just will kind of fizzle out in the next few years or cause friction within a group and just not work well together. There are going to be challenges on every single property, and it's how you
Mhm.
handle those challenges and how the people you work with handle those challenges, which is going to show who shows up on top in the end. So you're doing it right. I love everybody on that team.
Yeah, I mean that is the key thing is making sure you have great team members that you can work well with, right? And the only way to know is if you've had a meal with that person, if you've been to a couple seminars, multiple Zoom calls, know their work ethic, and hear about it from other people as well, you know.
Yeah. Well said, Alex. Thank you. All right, let's transition to our final question and then get the listeners of some form of reaching you. So let's imagine it was 100 years from now and you have great great grandchildren and they wanted to write a book about you.
Hmm.
What would you want them to title this book?
I want them to title this, wow, maybe Lifetime Impact, because everyone that we work with, we touch, whether it's a patient, a partner, another business owner, we want to make an impact on their lives, right? And a positive impact on their lives that will better them. That's going to better their lives because the more people we are able to impact, automatically, Nico, the more people will get referred to what we do. And as a follow up, finances, happiness, time, everything you're going to receive back, right? It's how much impact can you make in their lives. The less impact you make in other people's lives, the less you're going to receive, right? But the more impact, the more you put in, the more you're going to get, no doubt.
Lifetime impact. That's cool, man. Thank you, Alex. All
Thank
right.
you.
Let's get the listeners some form of reaching out to you.
Yeah, you can reach me on Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn, on social media is probably the easiest. Or you can reach us on our website, either dralextam.com or zephyrequitygroup.com. So I'm not that hard to find.
No, thank you, Alex. Yeah, you're everywhere, man. Well, I truly appreciate our conversation here today. And I'm sure the listeners are going to get some value out of it and try to reach out to you as well. So be prepared for that. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Nico.
All right. Hey, Small Axe community. I would like to say thank you for listening to another episode of my podcast where we show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. Now, if you liked what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. Also, if you want to get in touch with me, go to my website at smalaxecommunities.com. Book a call with me. And until the next episode, keep sharpening those axes.